So, the repetition of thoughts is a fundamental aspect of human psychology, where about 90% of our daily thoughts are recurrences of our thoughts from the previous day. This repetitive cycle plays a crucial role in shaping our lives, as it creates a consistent pattern of thinking that directly influences our choices and behaviors. When most of our thoughts are repetitive, they tend to cement a specific mindset or perspective, leading to a predictable sequence of actions and reactions. For instance, if we constantly think about limitations or problems, we are likely to make choices that reinforce those perceptions, creating a self fulfilling prophecy. This cycle is significant because it underlines the power of our thoughts in shaping our reality. So, the repetition of thoughts also contributes to the formation of habits, both good and bad. When we repeatedly think in a certain way, we reinforce certain neural pathways in the brain, making those thoughts more likely to recur. Over time, these repetitive thoughts can become ingrained, almost automatic, which can be beneficial if the thoughts are positive and constructive, but detrimental if they are negative or self limiting. Furthermore, this cycle of repetitive thinking often leads to a sense of stagnation or being stuck. When our thoughts are predominantly the same day after day, there's little room for new ideas or perspectives. This lack of novelty and variety in our thinking can prevent personal growth and limit our ability to adapt to new challenges and opportunities. Breaking the cycle of repetitive thought requires conscious effort and awareness. It involves recognizing the patterns of our thinking and deliberately introducing new positive and constructive thoughts. Link techniques like mindfulness, journaling, or cognitive behavioral therapy can be effective in identifying and changing repetitive thought patterns. The impact of repetitive thoughts is not just psychological, but also physiological. Our thoughts can trigger emotional and physical responses. For example, constant worry or stress can lead to physical health issues. By the same token, introducing positive and uplifting thoughts can have a beneficial effect on both mental and physical well being. Moreover, the repetition of thoughts can create a comfort zone that feels safe but is often limiting. Stepping out of this comfort zone and challenging our habitual thought patterns can lead to significant personal development and open up new possibilities in life. The link between thoughts and destiny is a profound concept that highlights the significant role our mental processes play in shaping our future. If we accept that our thoughts have a direct connection to our destiny, then the repetitiveness of these thoughts becomes critically important. When 90% of our thoughts are the same as the previous day, it implies that our lives are likely to follow a predictable pattern, devoid of significant change. This cycle indicates that the key to altering our destiny lies in changing our habitual thought patterns. Our thoughts are not just fleeting mental events. They are powerful forces that shape our choices and actions. Each thought leads to a decision, and these decisions cumulatively define our path in life. When our thoughts are stagnant or negative, they can lead to choices that keep us trapped in unfulfilling situations or prevent us from realizing our full potential. Conversely, positive and progressive thoughts can propel us towards growth and fulfillment. This connection between thoughts and destiny is also evident in the way our thoughts influence our behavior. Habitual thoughts create a comfort zone of familiar behaviors. When we think the same way day after day, our behaviors tend to follow suit, leading to a life that changes very little over time. This cycle can be comforting in its predictability, but it also limits our experiences and personal growth. As moreover, the repetitive nature of our thoughts also shapes our emotional landscape, which in turn affects our overall state of being. If our thoughts are frequently negative or self-defeating, they can create a state of being that is pessimistic or anxious. This state can become a barrier to achieving our goals and fulfilling our destiny. In contrast, thoughts that are optimistic and empowering foster a state of being that is conducive to pursuing and achieving our aspirations. Changing our destiny through thought requires conscious effort and intentionality. It involves not only recognizing and challenging our existing thought patterns, but also actively cultivating new, more constructive ways of thinking. This transformation can be facilitated through practices like meditation, affirmations, and visualization, which help reprogram our mental patterns. The relationship between thoughts and destiny is also underpinned by the principle that we attract what we focus on. If our thoughts are consistently centered around what we lack or fear, we may inadvertently draw those very experiences into our lives. On the other hand, focusing our thoughts on our goals and aspirations can set the stage for bringing those desires to fruition. The formation of personality is a complex process that involves the interplay of thoughts, actions, and emotions over time. It is the cumulative result of how we consistently think, behave, and feel, creating a unique pattern that defines each individual. This pattern or personality is not static but evolves based on our repeated mental and emotional habits. Personality is essentially the manifestation of our repeated internal processes. It emerges from the habitual thoughts we entertain, the routine actions we engage in, and the familiar emotions we experience. For instance, if a person consistently thinks negatively, acts timidly, and frequently feels anxious, these patterns coalesce to form a personality that might be described as pessimistic or shy. Moreover, personality is shaped by the feedback loop between our internal state and external experiences. Our thoughts and feelings influence the way we perceive and interact with the world, and these interactions in turn reinforce our internal state. Says if we habitually perceive the world as hostile or challenging, we are likely to develop a personality that is defensive or guarded. To Japan, we'll see. The emotions we regularly experience play a significant role in personality formation. Emotions are powerful drivers of behavior and can significantly influence our thought patterns. Regularly experiencing certain emotions like joy, sadness, or anger can deeply ingrain these emotional states into our personality, affecting how we react to future events. The concept of personality as a creation of our internal state implies that by changing our thoughts, actions, and emotions, we can alter our personality. This perspective provides a pathway for personal growth and change, suggesting that we are not irrevocably bound to our current traits and characteristics. Community is also influenced by the consistency of our responses to situations. For example, if a person consistently responds to challenges with determination and creativity, these responses become part of their personality, defining them as resilient and innovative. Or conversely, consistently avoiding challenges can lead to a personality that is risk averse or the habitual nature of our thoughts and actions means that over time, certain neural pathways in the brain are strengthened, making these patterns more automatic and less conscious. This neurological aspect explains why certain traits and behaviors become deeply embedded in our personality. Changing your personality is a profound process that involves a deliberate and conscious effort to alter the habitual ways in which you think, act, and feel. This process is not superficial or quick. It requires a deep commitment to self-awareness and a willingness to step out of comfort zones. To change your personality, you must first become acutely aware of the thoughts, behaviors, and emotions that currently define you. Becoming aware of unconscious habits and behaviors is the first crucial step in changing your personality. This awareness involves observing yourself without judgment, noticing the patterns that dominate your daily life. It's about identifying the automatic ways you react to certain situations, the default thoughts that fill your mind, and the predominant emotions that color your days. Examining your habitual emotional states is equally important. Emotions are powerful influencers of both thought and behavior. By assessing the emotions you experience regularly, you can determine whether they are conducive to the life you want to create. This assessment requires honesty and courage, as it often means confronting uncomfortable or deeply ingrained emotions. Changing your personality also involves a deliberate effort to think differently. This might mean challenging negative or limiting beliefs, cultivating a more optimistic outlook, or intentionally practicing gratitude. It's about replacing self-defeating thoughts with empowering ones, thereby shifting your mental landscape. Altering your behavior is another crucial aspect of changing your personality. This could involve adopting new habits, breaking old ones, or simply acting in ways that align more closely with your desired personality traits. For example, if you want to become more outgoing, you might practice initiating conversations or participating in social activities. The process of changing your personality is not just about subtracting or minimizing certain traits. It's also about developing and strengthening new qualities. This development might involve learning new skills, exposing yourself to different experiences, or consciously practicing traits like empathy, patience. Embracing new emotions is a significant part of this transformation. It requires allowing yourself to feel and express emotions that might be unfamiliar or uncomfortable, such as joy, vulnerability, or confidence. This emotional exploration is essential for fostering a deeper and more authentic connection with yourself and others. The neuroscience of habits delves into how repetitive thoughts and actions become ingrained in our brains, forming patterns that dictate much of our daily behavior. At the core of habit formation is the principle that nerve cells that fire together wire together. That means when you repeatedly engage in a particular thought or action, the neurons involved in that activity strengthen their connections, making the behavior more automatic and less conscious over time. Habits are essentially neural pathways that have been strengthened through frequent use. Each time a behavior is repeated, the brain finds it easier to trigger the same neurons in the future. Fine geeking. This efficiency is what makes habits so powerful. They enable us to perform tasks without expending significant mental energy. However, this also means that breaking a habit requires the formation of new neural pathways, which can be a challenging process. The basal ganglia, a group of structures in the brain, play a crucial role in the formation of habits. These structures are involved in the development of emotions, memories, and pattern recognition. When a behavior becomes a habit, the basal ganglia take over the control of that behavior, reducing the involvement of the prefrontal cortex, the brain's decision-making center. This shift in control is why habits can feel so automatic and why breaking them requires conscious effort. Dopamine, a neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and reward, is also a key player in habit formation. When an action is perceived as rewarding, dopamine is released, reinforcing the behavior and making it more likely to be repeated. This reward system is what underlies both positive habits like exercise and negative ones like smoking. Or another aspect of the neuroscience of habits is the concept of the habit loop, which consists of a cue, a routine, and a reward. The cue triggers the habit, the routine is the behavior itself, and the reward is what reinforces the habit. Understanding and altering these components are essential for habit change. Future neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize and form new neural connections throughout life, is central to changing habits. While old neural pathways never fully disappear, new pathways can be strengthened with practice, eventually overshadowing the old ones. This process requires time and repetition, much like the formation of the original habit. The challenge of changing habits is a multifaceted process that goes beyond mere willpower or desire. Habits, deeply ingrained in our neural pathways through repeated behavior, thoughts, and emotions, form a significant part of our daily life. As these patterns become automatic, changing them requires not only conscious effort, but also a strategic approach. One of the primary challenges in changing habits is overcoming the strength of existing neural pathways. Each time a habit is performed, the neural connections associated with that behavior are reinforced, making the habit more automatic and ingrained. To change a habit, new neural pathways need to be created and strengthened, which can be a slow and demanding process. It requires consistent practice of new behaviors to make them habitual. Another challenge lies in the nature of habits as solutions to recurring problems or needs. For instance, a habit like smoking might have initially formed as a way to cope with stress. To effectively change this habit, one must not only address the behavior itself, but also find new, healthier ways to deal with the underlying need or problem. The role of the environment in habit formation and maintenance is also significant. Our surroundings can trigger habitual behaviors, making it challenging to change them. For example, certain locations, times of day, or social settings can act as cues for a habit, prompting the behavior almost unconsciously. Changing these environmental triggers or learning to respond differently to them is a crucial part of habit change. Emotional attachment to habits adds another layer of complexity. Many habits are tied to emotional states, serving as sources of comfort, stress relief, or pleasure. This emotional connection can make it difficult to let go of the habit, as it might feel like giving up a trusted coping mechanism or and moreover, habits often fulfill short-term desires or needs, even if they are detrimental in the long run. The immediate gratification or relief provided by a habit can overshadow its long-term consequences, making change more challenging. Overcoming this requires focusing on long-term goals and rewards, which can be less immediately satisfying. The very challenge of changing habits also involves dealing with setbacks and lapses. Habit change is rarely a linear process. It often involves moments of regression, which can be discouraging. Developing resilience and learning to view setbacks as natural parts of the learning process are crucial for long-term success in habit change. Additionally, changing habits often requires a shift in self identity. For instance, if someone identifies as a smoker, giving up smoking is not just about stopping a behavior, but also about altering their self concept. This identity shift can be challenging, as it requires letting go of a part of oneself and embracing a new. The challenge of changing habits is compounded by the fact that habits often operate below the level of conscious awareness. Many habitual actions are performed without conscious thought, making them difficult to identify and change. Practicing self-awareness through mindfulness or self-reflection can help bring these unconscious habits to light, making it possible to address them. In essence, changing habits is a complex process that involves rewiring the brain, understanding and altering emotional attachments, modifying environmental triggers, focusing on long-term rewards, developing resilience against setbacks, and potentially shifting aspects of one's self-identity. This multifaceted approach is essential for successfully altering entrenched patterns of behavior